is such a thing as a valley season inside of a valley season. I think that's where I would be right now. I am struggling real bad. And as much as I didn't want to talk about these things on this very public platform until God delivered me from them, I feel like it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be the whole picture. And that's what I strive for on this channel. Again, if no one else watches my videos, these are for me to look back on and see how far God has taken me. So there needs to be the full picture. And I also don't want to rob God of his glory. So he's put it on my heart multiple occasions to get on here and talk about this. I made a separate video about the struggles that I have working for myself, financial struggles, the debt that I'm in for my education and credit cards since leaving work to work for myself a few years ago. So I made a separate video about that, failing at adulthood. If you're interested, I can link that in the description box below. But today's video is more so struggles that I'm having physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I'll start off with the spiritual struggles. I feel like fear has robbed me of so many years. I am afraid of failure, of judgment, which is another reason I didn't even want to put this video out there. But I feel like fear cost me so many years. And I saw a video on TikTok not too long ago where the speaker was talking about how we're so comfortable at where we are, and we tend to fear the unknown more than we trust God to get us through whatever we might face. And I feel like that was speaking directly to me. I do feel like I've gotten comfortable where I am working for myself and getting in a rhythm that works for me. So I've sabotaged multiple school application cycles for medical school, just from procrastination and other ways that I tend to self-sabotage. But I think the fear of that unknown has cost me many, many years. And I look back now and think that I could almost be done or already be done with med school. And here I am looking to get started. So while I'm trying to get my life together and get my spiritual life back together, the enemy sent the love of my heart to be a distraction to me in this season. And I, in the midst of everything else that I've already had going on and everything that I'm already going through 3 months into 2025, I'm also dealing with the heartbreak that has to do with that. So it's really hard for me to wrap my head around how someone can say that they care so deeply for you, but then treat you so poorly towards the end of everything. So I'm really struggling with that too, and struggling with whether I even heard God correctly about that situation, and just frustrations about why things are being revealed to me now when they, were going to work out this way the entire time. So I'm really dealing with that. And this was the very first time in my adult life that I can remember ever even thinking about self-harm so that I can numb the emotional pain that I was feeling. And to top all of that off, I'm struggling with a number of, I'd call them addictions. Number one, to food. Once I told my brother, and this was even before I went off to college, and I sought counseling because I would overeat so much it made me feel not well. So I was actually diagnosed with a binge eating disorder in college. So I remember even before then, I had mentioned to my brother, I was like, I have an addiction to food. Like, I eat, like, I emotionally eat. I eat when I'm happy, I eat when I'm sad. And it's not always the best things that I'm choosing to pick up and put in my mouth. And so my health is affected, how I feel in my body, the constant discomfort from carrying around excess weight that I shouldn't have on me. It just doesn't feel good, and I feel like I'm way too young to be struggling with the back problems and things like that I'm dealing with. And it's all because the things that I crave, the sweets, the comfort food, it's not all great for me as often as I have them. And so I've invited God into my weight loss journey and taking it a day at a time, asking Him to teach me how to better care for myself. And if I'm being all the way honest, I also am struggling with and have asked for His help with struggling with self-pleasure. That's something that I'll be honest and say that the very first time I was ever even exposed to anything of the sexual nature, I was reading it way before I had even known that you could watch it. My older sisters, they were into erotica novels. I picked up my first one at 8 years old. Again, I was always reading ahead of my grade level. So my sisters initially, they had seen no concerns. They were just happy that I was reading. But for being all the way honest, that content wasn't appropriate for an 8-year-old. So my mind was open to that stuff at a very young age. And while I don't necessarily struggle with watching things like pornography or things like that, but there's a lot of guilt attached to it when I do partake in self-pleasure, which I know does not honor God. And honestly, I also, at this point now, I feel like there's a dependency of sorts, I would say, on the herb. Now, I was prescribed this to use in the state in which I live for medicinal purposes, but I feel like God's revealed to me more recently that I have a dependence on it that I shouldn't have. He wants me to be fully surrendered and fully dependent on Him. And at some point, somewhere, I started heavily depending on it to moderate my moods and to help me sleep or to keep me in a certain state of mind. And so I don't think that that dependency makes God happy. So He brought it to my attention that this is something now that we have to address. But in all of these things, again, a lot of what's on my channel are testimonies and praise reports of good things that God has done. And while I might still be going through these things now, I believe that God knew I would struggle with these things when He called me. When He called me, He knew everything that I would face, everything that I would go through, every poor decision that I would make, every time that I would disappoint myself or let someone down. He knew about every single time, and yet He still chose me. And I also believe that every single day He is qualifying me. And should I separate myself from the fear long enough, I pray that He helps me to live the life that He called me to live for His glory. And so the silver linings in all of this is that all of the things that I'm going through has me constantly at the feet of Jesus. I pray more now than I ever have before in my entire life. And it's also increased my trust in God, knowing that while I might not perceive what He's doing or I might not understand it, He is always working. And I'm thankful that God pursues me in everything that I'm going through, even when I don't feel like I have the strength or the motivation to continue. He won't let me give up. He won't let me throw in the towel. He strengthens me literally every single day, and for that I'm grateful. And he pursues me. He never stopped pursuing me. I thank him even for the moments. He sees how often, how much time I actually spend on social media. So he always has someone with a word for me. Every few hours or so, if I hop back on, I always have a message that hits home. And I'm like, wow, even on social media, he's pursuing me. And so I thank him for that. And again, the purpose of this is transparency, so that when God delivers me from all of these things, including when he allows me to be debt free and living the life that he called me to live for his glory, you will be the first to know. I will share that testimony, because it's not just for me, it's to build the faith of others as well. And I look forward to making that video. But until then, I hope that you consider subscribing and joining me in this community. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video.